the same breath.
Can I tell you why that's the case? Because that's when I sit down with someone, I don't look at their accolades and what they've done and whatnot. I try to talk to the person, the human being, which is what I think you have failed to do on this interview. You haven't been talking to me as a human being. You've just been asking me things that you've seen as headlines, trying to get a response so you can get clickbait, Because, why is it we're not talking about the fact that I've hired more than 30 young black people in the climate where unemployment is so high? That's never highlighted. But you want to talk about it, girls. You want to talk about YouTube, which does nothing. For us as a young people, it does nothing. Okay, how does that inspire a person listening right now?
Okay, ask me a question. You say we fail to talk to you as a human being. You see, the difference between a podcast and a radio show like this is we work within the parameters. We get content producers that give us content of things that we have to ask you. So if you were chilling with me in my podcast, I'd certainly be talking to you in a different way, but I'm required to act in a certain way when I'm on this platform. So yeah, I understand your frustration, yes, but I have to ask these questions because they're on my prep and because I am meant to ask them. But also I've got things of personal interest that I'd like to ask you.
For instance, is it not your show? It's not your show.
No, it's not my show.
Whose show is it then?
It's the station's show.
No, it's not, dog. I've worked in radio before. You have the final say with everything. Yes, there's a producer who'll give you guidelines of questions to ask, but at the end of the day, you have the final say in what you can ask.
No, I don't.
I have no issues. I have no issues with answering all the controversies and whatever.
Say. I'll have you. Let me correct that. But I'm also giving you a platform to correct things and perceptions that people hold about you, and I'm asking you these uncomfortable questions so that you may.
I don't mind that. I don't mind. I'm saying there needs to be a balance. All you've been asking me is the controversies. There hasn't been a balance. I'm saying, why are you failing to highlight?
I'm not failing. I'm actually ticking all the boxes I'm supposed to tick. It's just you are irritated with the questions that I'm asking you.
What's the one positive thing you said about the podcast?
The one positive thing I said, people that have actually come out stronger from your interaction or being on the podcast. No. They've landed jobs. Yes?
Say, you didn't mention that good things come out of the pot. Is it a poison chalice?
No, I said on the one end of the spectrum, it's seen as a poison chalice. On the opposite end, it's seen as a springboard. And we can name about 4 people that have come out stronger from your interaction. But now you've taken a hold of my interview. And I still...
No, I mentioned those people. You should have mentioned them. You should have said to me, listen, Tibo Touch came to your show. This has happened.
No.
What is that is?
On your show, you get to ask people what you want to ask them. On my show, I get to ask them what I want to ask them. I understand that you only...
You just said it's not your show. Not your show.
Not your show. The positive highlighted about you. If I highlight the negative, then you act off, which then says to...
No, I didn't say that. I said there must be a balance. I said since the interview has started, you've just been asking me about all the BS.
That's not highlighting... Most of the content about you, Macg, is shocking, and most of the content about you is controversial. So I cannot suddenly, because
if you're a chiller, you would know that's
ask you about things that are to your comfort. Most of every time I see you on a headline, it's something controversial. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's on a newspaper, it's always controversial. So naturally, the interview with you will be about the things that actually bring attention here to you. And
that's what I'm saying. That's where you're missing the point. I said earlier in the interview, it's a narrative people are trying to push.
And
it's a narrative.
With you. I even said
you said you're a chiller. If you're a chiller, you would know that that's not what the show is about. Hence, numbers don't lie. Week in, week out, people tune into the show because it's not about that. So they don't tune into the 5-minute clips that you are seeing and the headlines that you are reading, which don't bring context to what the show is about.
What
I'm saying right now, you've got a platform.
Get to see that clip for a minute, and now I represent them. I don't represent myself, because I know for a fact, I just told you, I see a lot of myself in you because I resonate with you. But the million listeners are maybe the people that you're describing, and they want their pound of flesh, and they want to know, Macg, why are you always acting about it girls? And so then, as their voice, I will ask you this question. It's not about me.
So, okay, let me ask you It Girls question. You've been wanting to ask me that the whole time. I have no issue against It Girls. If you listen to the show, I said I have an issue about people that are in public and lie and portray a certain image when they are not when they're not telling the truth. So it's not a gender thing. It's not a It Girl thing. Last week, Casper Nyovese was found out that he doesn't own Billy Atto. That's what I'm against. I'm against people like him coming out and saying, I own this, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a billionaire and whatever, when behind the curtains, they are not. It's owned by a white guy. That's what I'm about. Telling the truth. I'm in the business of telling the truth. So if you want to label as me hating It Girls, then so be it. But I'm just saying, as an It Girl, don't come out and say, this is how I'm getting my money, when back at the ranch, you are sleeping with men. That's all I was saying. Let's just be honest and own your truth.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with you mostly, but you also must agree that we work ngendlela ezihlukile, and also I represent a million other people that you maybe would label as naive, but I have to still again be their voice and ask you these things. But this has been a pleasure having you.
Listen, I think you misunderstood me. I have no issue with you asking me the controversies and whatever. I mean, that's bound to happen. My issue is that your platform is huge, bro. You got people that are listening who've never watched my show. Now you're pushing a narrative that I told you is an agenda against me, but yet you are fueling that narrative, which is what I'm against. I'm like, oh, cool, talk about that, but also talk about the 30 people, young black people that have employed in the climate the country is in. Also talk about all the good things that we've done, the fact that we've got a female podcast, but yet I hate females. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I feel for you, bro. I've been misconstrued. I've been misunderstood. Things have been said that have no basis. I understand where you're coming from, but I just need for you to feel where I'm coming from. And how I come across is a feeling. And I'm saying it's not a true feeling. I'm a great admirer of your work. And I really, really love what you're doing. You are exemplary. When umuntu ophakamisa uvukuzenzele, get up and do things for yourself as a youth. You can't complain about unemployment. You are created employment. You're employing people. You're creating a platform for a voice of the youth. And I'm a big admirer of your work. But maybe your radio setup and my radio setup are two different things, my friend.
Maybe that's why you still have a job and I don't.
Exactly. No, I didn't have it last week, but yeah, I'm fresh from a suspension, my guy.
Thank you so much, King. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
You're the best, my guy. Keep at it.
Yeah?